Hello there and welcome to this video where we are going to be looking at using algorithms. In this video we're going to go over a few pieces of key terminology. We're going to look at how to read an algorithm and then also how to use an algorithm. So let's go over these key terms. First one, quite obviously, is what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a series of instructions to solve a problem. They can be used in various different disciplines, they're very different areas, but the algorithms we're going to be making today is going to be using something called pseudocode, which is an English type language. It's not a programming language at all, but it's like a planning language that can be used to create computer programs which you can give to people and they can then go away and create them. Variables are values that can change within a program, and variables are stored somewhere in the system, in the computer system's memory. And again, that value can change. We're going to look at functions. Functions are self-contained pieces of code which performs a specific task and it returns a value as well. So for example, when you log onto a computer, it uses a login function because it doesn't have to want to keep writing and reading the same different pieces of code. So we use a function to repeat it. If we're looking at when you're programming and you use input or print, again, those are examples of functions because you're using something someone has previously created. Finally, we've got data types. The clue is in the name. Data types are different types of data. Now, controversial as this may sound, computers are inherently dumb. We need to tell the computers what we're doing, how we're working with things. So if we write for the number, for example, 23, we see that as 2 in the tens column, 3 in the units column, put it together, boom, we've got 23. Computers will just see that as the number 2 and the number 3 next to each other. It won't know what to do with it. So we can use data types to tell the computer, right, okay, then this is what we're doing, this is how we're handling the data, this is what we're doing. So for example, different data types include integers, a whole number. So for example, 27, 42. We can use real data types, which are numbers with a decimal place. 32.6, 0.9, 15.7. We've got characters, which are individual letters or symbols, basically anything you can find on your keyboard. You've got strings, which are groups of characters. And you've also got Boolean, which is a true, false, yes, no value. We can also have date time, which, you guessed it, records the date and the time. So here we've got a nice little algorithm. We can see here some variables. So variables are anything that is being input or anything which is being assigned a value. So here on this first line, we've got limit equals 200. So what this line is doing is it's creating the variable limit and it is setting it to 200. So at the moment, limit is worth 200. We could change that line of code and we could set it to 250, at which point limit would be worth 250. We're then going to input wages earned. So this is something that the user is going to type in. So far we've got two variables, limit and wages earned, and that's what's going to store information. So wages earned is going to store whatever the user is going to input. This line of code here, if wages earned is less than limit. So if the number that's been entered is less than that limit variable, it's going to execute this line of code here, pay equals wages earned. If wages earned is not less than limit, it's going to do this line of code here, pay equals wages earned plus 50. So what we've got here, we've got an if statement, and what this is doing is it's saying that the limit's 200, we're going to input the wages earned. If this is less than this, it's going to pay this, else pay is going to be equal to this, end if. So that's all you're doing with reading an algorithm. You're looking for the variables that are being used. You're looking for if there's any if statement and what signs being used with those if statements. You can see over here on the right hand side, we've got comments. Comments are very helpful in this instance. You can see what the algorithm means, what's happening with it. If we look at this next algorithm, again, we can see here we've got another set of comments on the right hand side, which is always very helpful. And again, we've got different variables here. What I want you to do, give the video a quick pause and make a list of all the variables you think you're going to find, and then we're going to find them. So hopefully you have paused the video, you have written down a list of what variables you think you're going to come across. First one here, we've got noise, and that is going to be worth 10. We're going to input wins, we're going to input losses. We're setting goals to 0. We've created net here. So these are all the different variables that we've come across. This const here means it's short for constant. And it's related to a variable in that it's a piece of information, but the constant stays the same. So the noise stays the same the whole way through, so it doesn't change. So the different variables we've got here, we've got noise, we've got wins, we've got losses, we've got goals, we've got nets. And then we can see, going down here, while net is greater than noise, it's going to execute this code here. And then at the end of the end while, it's going to go back round, and then it's going to check the value again. And then at the end, it's going to output that goals variable. So when we're looking at this algorithm, yes, we've got more variables here, but we can see what the variables are doing. So we think about, we're going to go around and use an algorithm. So again, these are the same algorithms we've looked at previously. We're saying limit equals 200, input wages earned, and then we've got the same code here. So if we're saying to begin with, wages earned is going to be 50, what we're saying is if 50 is less than limit, 50 is less than limit because limit is 200, my pay is going to be wages earned. So my pay is going to be 50. If I'm going to get rid of that 50, I'm going to say my wages earned is going to be 500 because I've been working a lot this month. If 500 is less than limit, it's not. Then it's going to go to this section here, and it's going to pay is wages earned, which is my 500 plus 50. So when I'm using this algorithm, I could just change the limit. If I change the limit and I set that to 100, it's going to make this line here a lot difficult to trigger because the wages earned has to be lower. And again, if I change that to greater than instead of less than, we can see if wages earned is greater than limit, pay equals wages earned. So what this is doing by changing this symbol here, it's rewarding people by giving them extra pay for completing less work because we've changed the value of that less than into a greater than. And again, we've got the same example here as well. We can input wins and losses. We've got the net here. So if the net was wins plus losses, it's going to dramatically change what happens. So with this line of code here, it's very important. Net equals net minus noise. So it reduces the value of the net. So we've looked at, in this video here, looked at key terms, reading an algorithm, using an algorithm. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I'll see you in another video. See you later.